Hi everyone, Steve Brown, and in this video I just want to talk about social media and search engine optimization for local businesses, because I think there's a lot of stuff out there that's confusing local business owners, that's making them think it's far more difficult than it really is. And at the end of the day, you are competing locally. I know it's more competitive in obviously the big cities like Manchester and London and Glasgow, you know, the major populated cities. But in the main, if you do your marketing right, it is so easy to get ranked on page one of Google for a local business. And I'm talking multiple times. So I just want to give some oversight into that in this short video. So I want to talk about what used to happen, the way we used to rank local businesses, because quite frankly, up until February of 2012, it was relatively easy to rank any business locally if you did some basic stuff. And what I mean by basic stuff is I'm talking about on-page optimization. And what I mean by that is when you put your website up, one of the things you need to remember is that Google ranks your page. It ranks each page on your website individually. It's not ranking the website as a whole. So as long as you treated each page individually, so what you would do is you take the keyword you're trying to rank for. So let's just say you're trying to rank for the keyword plumber in Swansea or Swansea plumber. Then you would make sure that the title of your page was Swansea plumber. You would do other on-page optimization, like making sure that within the first 90 characters on the page that you use the word Swansea plumber, that you put it in bold, that you put it in italics, that maybe you had a couple of other headers on the page that also had the keyword Swansea plumber in it. You'd have the image maybe with Swansea plumber, would be called Swansea plumber, and these were all on-page optimizations. And as long as you were competing locally, then realistically that would usually be enough to get you to rank on page one of Google. And then in the more competitive areas, what you would do is you would do what they call backlinks. Now, a backlink is simply where somebody from another site is linking to your site. Now, this could be as simple as a local directory. For example, when you list your business in Yell.com, or you list your business on Thomson Local or Quip or FreeIndex or any of the other directories, they always give you the opportunity to link back to your website, to your main homepage. And they would be called backlinks. Those links from the Yell.com back to your site is a backlink. And you've all seen them. You see backlinks. Links are the blue anchor text that you see on the page of content, and if you click on it, it links you across to another page. These are known as backlinks. So when it links from one site across to another, you've just had a backlink. So the way Google used to work is, I would have guessed, and there's no exact figure on this, but I would have guessed and said, your on-page optimization, getting your titles right, your images, you're putting it in bold and using the keyword and all these optimized ways, that used to represent about 10% of all optimization. And then the rest of it, then the other 90% would be the off-page, these backlinks coming in. So backlinks used to represent about 90% of everything you ever used to do. That's why you probably receive emails from all these Indian companies and companies abroad, from other places, where they're offering you services like, we'll put you in 150 directories and articles and all this sort of thing, and they're going to generate you hundreds and hundreds of backlinks. Well, none of that works anymore, because Google has got smarter and smarter, and we'll talk about that shortly. But let's just stay focused on backlinks for a second and why they used to be important. Because if you wanted to compete, say you were trying to compete, rather than being a Swansea plumber, you were a London plumber, where it's far, far more competitive, you would have to get lots of these backlinks. But even the backlinks themselves had different values. And what I mean by that is, if you took two websites that were absolutely identical, and they were both trying to rank for the keyword Swansea plumber, then you'd have these backlinks coming in. Let's just say that both of them had 100 backlinks each. So how would Google know which one to rank above the other? And that would come down to the authority of these backlinks. So what I mean by that is the sort of sites that these backlinks come from, the authority of them. So when I'm explaining this, when I'm doing talks locally and I'm doing some training, whatever, here's a story I use to try and explain what I mean by the authority of these backlinks. So I'm in the local pub, and I come out, and I've left the pub, and I'm walking down. I go down the local football park, and there's this guy there playing football, and I think to myself, oh my God, he's the next Maradona. So I turn to Google and I say, hey Google, this guy's the next Maradona. And Google says, yeah, thanks for the information, and totally ignores me. Why? Because I'm a guy from the local pub. So I go back to the pub, and I get everybody that's in the pub to come back down to this local park, and they all stand there, and they all say, Steve, you're right, this guy's the local Maradona. So they all turn to Google and say, Google, this guy's the next Maradona. And Google has a look and it says, yeah, thanks for the information, but at the end of the day, you're just a bunch of guys from a local pub. So I go around every single pub in Swansea, and I get everybody down there, and there's 10,000 of us stood around this pitch, and we're all watching this guy, and all 10,000 of us say, oh my God, he really is the next Maradona. So we all turn to Google and we say, Google, this guy really is the next Maradona. Now at this point, with 10,000 people beginning to say that this guy might be the next Maradona, Google sits up and begins to take notice. But then Sir Alex Ferguson turns up, and Alex Ferguson turned round and says, Google, this guy is definitely the next Maradona. And Google says, okay. Why? Because he is the authority. Sir Alex Ferguson, putting his opinion on the performance of a footballer, he is the authority, not the 10,000 guys from a local site, from a local pub. So what I want you to understand is you can have one good quality link from an authority site, and that totally outranks 1,000, 10,000 links from spammy sites. And that's why when you see people doing these things like going out and putting comments on other people's blogs and doing what they call spam, comment spamming, that doesn't work, because these are very poor quality links coming back to your site. They don't bring any authority with them. So when you're doing these links, you need to look for authority sites, sites that are in your niche, sites that are quality sites in your niche. And there are plenty around. That's all separate training, which we do in the membership site. But what I'm just trying to get you to understand is that these are quality links that you're after can totally outblast your competition out the water. But anyway, what happened was last year, 2011, Google turned around and was fed up of all these spam sites and these poor quality sites that were getting to page one of Google purely through this backlinking system of getting lots and lots of links to their sites. So last year, Google did what they called the Panda update. And the Panda update was where they literally sat down and looked at the quality of the sites that were ranking and looked to see how they were achieving it, what was a good site, what is a bad site. And what I mean by a good site is a good quality site is one where your grandmother could literally land on the site, feel confident, would be comfortable buying from it, could have trusted the site, could navigate easily, could easily understand what the content of the site was about. So Google started looking for all these quality factors and built that into its algorithm. So in, I think it was May 2011, what you found was a lot of sites started falling down the rankings because they didn't meet this criteria. And then February of 2012, earlier this year, what Google did was what it called the Penguin update. And the Penguin update was where Google put together a series of algorithms where it worked out where people were getting these links from. And let me give you an example of a story I heard. I mean, they found one London solicitor who had 10,000 links coming from sites in Bangladesh. Now, I'm sorry, but why would these sites in Bangladesh bother linking to a London solicitor site? So Google was able to easily track these footprints and work out where these links were coming from, and it devalued these links. In fact, there was companies in America that you could issue an article, so you could write an article, send it to this company, pay your monthly fee, and it would go out to thousands and thousands of different blog sites across the world, and all of these would link back to your little site here in Swansea or anywhere else in the UK. And Google picked up on this, and this whole industry was wiped out overnight because Google picked up the fact that these were just spam links. These weren't real people really linking to your site. And it picked up on this. And then it's evolved since then. It's been looking at social media in a heavy way for backlinking since 2010, I think. Somewhere around, there's a report done somewhere around about December 2010. But what Google's actually doing now is Google is using social media to see how important your site really is. And it makes logical sense when you think about it, because let's take my favourite football team, somewhere where I'm a season ticket holder. I go to see Swansea City every week. And if you take Swansea City, when we were in the Championship, Swansea City had a certain level of media attention, shall we say, where they'd be in the local press, there'd be some coverage in the national press, and there would be, a level. And then they got into the Premiership, and since they've been into the Premiership, the media level is way over my head. It is incredible. You've got people from abroad, every country wants to talk to you. We have massive press conferences every week. I can tell you local players, you want to talk about the power of social media. I can tell you that local players like Danny Graham, Nathan Dyer, people like that, are learning how to tweet in Taiwanese, if that's how you pronounce it, because Key is showing them how to do it, because they've got massive followers now abroad, and all of this media activity. So if you think about it, people now talk about them on Facebook and on Twitter, and it's everywhere. And the same applies to local marketing, because if you're really good at what you do, then even locally you will have people following you, people talking about your brand, etc. I mean, I'll tell you a true story that happened literally this week before I've just made this video. I've come across a client. He's now a client, but I actually worked with this guy 30 years ago. And it was very interesting because he was actually dealing with companies nationally. He wanted to work with a local company to start looking at his social media and his online marketing. So although he'd done his website with somebody for a national company, he wanted to look for a local marketer, and he actually found me through Google and through social media. And then when we were having the conversation, we were talking about old times and catching up on different things. But he said to me, something happened to me the other week. He said, I don't understand it. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, this woman who's now a client, he said, she bought a kitchen off me. She said, but she found me on Facebook. He said, but I haven't got a Facebook account. He said, I'm not on Facebook. And I was laughing, and I said, yes. I said, but other people were talking about you on Facebook. And he said, yeah, that's what she said. 3 of her friends had recommended me and my company. Now, you're talking about a guy that's been in business for 25 years, this particular business, and he didn't realize that people were talking about him and his company on Facebook. So it doesn't matter whether you're already on Facebook or not. Your customers, your potential clients are already talking about you, good or bad. And once I explained it, he understood all this. So where do we go from here? Because what's happened now is with Google, is whereas I said before, to rank before, I would have said 10% on-page optimization and 90% backlinks. And whilst I can't give you an exact figure, I would say it's more likely to have moved now, the way Google is going, it's moved now more towards 10% on-page optimization, because you still need to tell Google what that page is about. Even though it's got cleverer and cleverer and could make good decisions about what your content is about, as long as you're giving it the right indications to help it along, Google will know that this page is all about a Swansea plumber. Then I would say you're probably talking around about 40 to 50% is backlinks, in what I call a traditional way, getting authority sites to link back to you, making sure that you've got your directories linking back to you, etc. But a whole 40 or 50% now is social media. And Google is looking at social media and how social media is interacting with the site and talking about your site. And what I mean by that is, there was a survey done by SEO Moz, which is massive in the search engine optimization world. And SEO Moz, what they did is they did a test, and they tested the results on 1,000 different results. And what they found was a big factor, and everybody's agreeing with this, a big factor now is when somebody shares you on Facebook. So somebody writes something about your business and then shares that with their friends and family and all that. Google sees that as a big, massive indicator that people like you and that you're popular. And the same with Twitter, when people are talking about you on Twitter and sharing you on Twitter. So Google is looking at these social signals, and this is why Google Plus has become so important. Although I perceive Google Plus at this moment in time as being like a big empty vacuum, it's filling up rapidly, because Google Plus is Google's social platform, and if people are talking about you on there, and if people are interacting with you on there, Google can see that you're popular. And this is the way you try to show yourself being popular before. Before, by optimizing yourself for Google rankings, you were getting yourself onto page 1 of Google, so anybody looking to search for you, like the old yellow pages, go online, do a quick search for Swansea Plumber, up comes your site because you're on page 1 of Google. Well, now Google's using the social indicators to see whether you should rank on page 1 of Google. So it's looking for backlinks, it's looking for social links, it's looking for social proof. But that's great news as well, because if you as a local business take the time and trouble to set up your Facebook page, your Google Plus page, your Google Plus business listing, your Twitter account, your Pinterest account. For those who don't know what Pinterest is, this is the new social media for images. But you set up all these different social media accounts. And what you can do now is, as you add content onto your website, you can now share that out onto all these other sites, onto your Facebook page, tweet the fact that you've just added some new content, etc. And you can put all this, and all of this now starts going viral on all your different social media platforms. You make a video about it, like this video here. You do a video about it, and the video can go viral. The people can see, that haven't met you till now, can know, like, or trust you. I say to people, get in front of a video camera, because it doesn't matter whether, you're not going to please everybody. I always talk, when I'm talking, I say, look, as far as I'm concerned, 20% of the people who see you will think you're fabulous, 40% will think you're okay, and about 40% or 50% will think, who the hell was that and what's he talking about? It doesn't matter. You're trying to appeal to the people that like you and trust you, and you build up this relationship. So you can even put content that you put on your website, can go onto a video and share that on YouTube. There are so many different social media channels, and Google's looking at all of these channels and how you as a business are interacting with them, and using that to judge how important you are. So for one marketing system, if you set it up right, you can do all of this work. Once you've got it set up, you can do all of this work in just 20 minutes. And when I say set up, what I mean is, when somebody lands on your Facebook page, or your Pinterest page, or your YouTube channel, or your Twitter account, it should be branded as your business, so that they know it's you straight away, no matter how they got there. Whether it was a friend that had retweeted something, and then they've landed on your, and they received that tweet and landed on your business page. Whether it's somebody that shared you on Facebook, and now they click on the link and they go to see your website or your YouTube, your video, whatever it is, they need to know your brand straight away. It should say, hey, it's me, the local Swansea plumber. So all of this can be set up in one easy to go system, which is what members get when they join the site. But I just wanted to pick up from this video the fact that social media is now an important part of you ranking locally, but best of all, it's now encompassed all in one. If you do your social media marketing, that's taking care of and you do the basics of search engine optimization, that takes care of everything that you need as a local business. Guys, it's not that competitive. Like I said, it is in the likes of London, Manchester and Glasgow, but again, even there, as long as you put a system in place where you're doing this on a regular basis, adding new content to your site, sharing it out on all your social media platforms, that will create natural, real quality links back to your site. And as long as you do all the other basics, like making sure you're listed in all the directories, there's about 40, 50 here in the UK that you should be in. As long as you're doing all those things, you will rank on page 1 of Google. People will be talking about you locally and sharing your content everywhere. Google will then love you, move you to the top of the rankings. People then start leaving things like testimonials and all the rest of it, and it all builds like a snowball, and all of a sudden you've got a massive business marketing machine, all building new customers, new clients for you locally, and it's all done within 20, 30 minutes of a day. I hope this video has truly been of use to you and it's given you some ideas to move forward, and I'll see you in the next video.